5.
All right. I call the Commissioners' Legislative Meeting of Aleppo Township to order on January 20th, 2020 at 7 o'clock. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Jones,
Present.
Vice President Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Darrow.
Present.
There they are. Solicitor Stone.
Here.
Manager Patterson.
Here. Sorry.
This meeting, like all others, is recorded and can be watched on YouTube forever. Do I hear a motion to approve the January 6th reorganization workshop meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're quick, Chief.
Yes, you are.
Police report.
Yes, you are. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, please.
Okay, for the month of December, here we are in the new year, so I haven't had my opportunity. Happy New Year to everyone. For the month of December, a total of 86 calls. 41 of those were EMS assist. 8 were traffic citations. Throughout, we had a reported theft from a vehicle located one in the industrial park over here, nothing major. Gentleman believed that he's missing a package from his porch on Vecchio Drive. We had a minor incident involving some juveniles in a vehicle on Ingleside Lane and Timber Lane, driving a vehicle they shouldn't have been driving and doing a little bit of damage. That has been investigated and been dealt with promptly. All parties have been notified. Other than that, it has been relatively quiet, which is a good thing. I left with Township Manager we spoke last month in regards to deer and did the Game Commission have anything. The Game Commission has pushed out a big publication on townships and boroughs' management of deer population, which she has, which you gentlemen can reference that down the road if you wish. That's about the only thing they have going right now for the deer population. Other than that, go.
Can I bring up some stuff?
Sure.
I talked to you briefly about, gotten several more Amazon speeding complaints. We got some specific incident descriptions about Redgate where a resident was driving down Redgate and a van came up behind them and didn't feel they were going fast enough, so passed them on Redgate as they were approaching Rhodes Avenue. So we've had some resident calls, some residents stopped in, and some emails all about the speeding on Redgate specifically this time. And then we've also, related to Amazon, had some complaints about the fact that they work around the clock and that people can hear the trucks backing up all hours. So just figured we'd roll it all together right now.
Well, welcome to the two new guests. Are you both here for Amazon driving?
Yes, I will. Yes.
If you would like to hear what they have to say, then I can try to address
Yeah.
everything in the end, or I could start off with something, but whatever you gentlemen
Why don't
say.
you start with something?
So, Amazon, yes. They are what they are. It is what it is. I will say, since they have been there, they have been very receptive every time I've reached out to them. They've tried to address everything that they possibly can. Speeding, noise, the idling of the trucks, parking. They've been prompt with it, and we'll continue working with them. We do run traffic, Redgate, and other places within the jurisdiction. We do issue citations, as you can see. It's just one of those animals that they have a lot of drivers. It's a very fluctuating thing. They come in and come out. It's obviously a busy center. So, we could just reach out back to them and ask again that they inform the drivers. I know they do. I don't want to say daily, but I do believe at least every other day, they do briefs with their drivers. And sometimes it's safety stuff, sometimes it's fuel stuff, whatever it is, but when I've asked them in the past, they do address the things, specifically idling, speeding, and things like that.
And those drivers are independent.
They are all independent, correct, sir?
They still drive for Amazon though.
All right. Would you like to speak first?
Well,
No, please go to the microphone, introduce yourself.
sorry, my name's Tammy Morrow. I live on Rhodes Avenue, but my driveway is on Redgate Road. My neighbor couldn't be here because his kids are sick. He has 3 little kids, and the cars are coming down so fast, I can't even get out of my driveway. I mean, they put lines on my driveway, on the road there about a year ago, because Masonic Homes was going down so fast and throwing trash and everything out. Nobody in a year has sat in my driveway to catch a speeder. I come up to Gwen and I said, all they have to do is sit there. I mean, any time of the day. It doesn't matter if it's 12 o'clock at night or it's 3 o'clock at night. They are running those trucks really fast. So that is my one complaint. I would like you to sit somewhere, not just in Mr. Causey's driveway, because that's sort of at the peak of the road. They don't get their speed until they start coming down our hill. And I'm talking about speed. For instance, we had some gravel on the road. The one truck was coming down so fast, another truck was coming down behind him. He hit that gravel, swerved over, and almost hit the guardrail. I mean, well, it's my driveway and my fence there. Put big ruts in the roads. I mean, they're throwing trash out. They're just speeding really, really fast. And I mean, there's no sense for them going down. I mean, I can see them going down around 40 because it is hard. That hill goes down. But when you're going down so fast that you can't even hit your brakes when a bus is coming, that's when it's time. I'm just afraid somebody is going to get really hurt on that road. So, I mean, I would like you in my driveway every day, but I know that's not possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy? And please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Sandy Moore. Can you hear me okay? Okay.
I moved the mic, so.
I'm too short. I'm vertically challenged, as I said. I promise not to sing. Anyway, my name is Sandy Moore. I live at 921 Redgate Road, which is towards the top of Redgate Road. I'm right beside the villas and then towards the Merriman side. I hear 24/7 the backup beeps. I don't know what you call that. I understand there's federal regulations to those. I don't understand how the people at Amazon listen to that. I'm thinking they might wear earphones, and of course that would be OSHA safety, but I can't say that for sure. But they're loud enough that I can hear them in my house with all the windows shut. If I'm up in the middle of the night, and in fact I called Gwen, several times I've called Gwen, lucky Gwen. But anyway, with this issue, and there was a night last week, I guess it was, I was working on a project. She told me to wait till maybe after Christmas, it may slow down a little bit, but it really hasn't. And I worked on a project, it was an all-nighter project, and I heard them all night. It reminds me of the idea of lightning bugs, you know how much they flash? That's kind of like how it is. And my concern is, I know it's an industrial park over here. I know federal regulations state that the backup beeps have to be a certain level of whatever. But you know, I lived in this neighborhood for 20 years. We moved here in 1999. I'm a property owner. I pay my taxes on time and at a discount. I should be able to enjoy my property. When I moved here, there was no such animal as a 24-hour of all these signals going off. And it's just, you almost feel like you're in a torture chamber because you keep hearing it. Sorry, I'm getting upset. But you keep hearing it, and there's no respect for residents. And when FedEx was here, we never heard that. Somebody made the comment, well, they probably weren't as busy. Well, I don't think that maybe was the case. I don't know because I was not part of their business. But they had 18-wheelers. They didn't have 10 million of these little vans buzzing around everywhere. And, okay, some of the vans are Amazon, some are those white ones. And I guess if the Amazon ones, are they independent contractors too? I'm not sure. It was mentioned, but they do work for Amazon. But do they have the ability to say anything to the independent contractors? Because it's like, it's the independent contractor's own business. So I'm not sure about all those regulations, but I just wish there was something that could happen that, I don't want them to lose their business, but at the same time, I don't want to be affected, and I know I'm not the only neighbor. And I hate like heck to be over here complaining about this. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to just enjoy my property and not worry about all these noises. And I'm speaking out for any other residents that maybe don't want to complain because they don't want to cause waves. That it's very, very annoying. I mean, should I like get a backup thing myself and get all their addresses and sit by their house and see if they feel that that's what should happen in a business? There should be some kind of solution. I'm not sure exactly what the solution is. I mentioned like some kind of sign wall. I don't know if there's some kind of barrier, something you could put overhead that would, no, this is me being generic because I'm not really an expert at any of this, but is there maybe something you could look at that's it ricochets the sign off and bounces it back over into the industrial park? How, because if I'm up over the hill, sign goes up and over. Is there something that's high enough that can ricochet it back? Or could they build something that they don't have to back up? Like build some kind of dock thing that as people are coming through, maybe it's on the side, and then the people who are packing, loading the trucks, the truck would be in front, and all the loaders, the stuff would come out of the thing, and then the loaders would just stick it in. I mean, I don't know a solution, and they probably all sound really funny, and I'm just realizing I'm on YouTube. Big joke. But anyway, guess I'm not getting an engineering job, am I? But you know what I'm trying to say? I mean, it's just, I don't know what else to do. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's about all. I don't know if anybody has a
Young
solution.
man, are you here
Thank
for
you.
the Amazon traffic problem?
No,
Okay,
I got my own problem.
okay. So, we've heard that. Chief, would you like to respond?
Oh, excuse me too. Sorry.
Choose them like that.
I'm going to agree with Tammy with the trash. It's terrible. They're like pigs, literally like pigs. And there have been some water or pop bottles laying around that, did you ever hear that song about the yellow snow? So, I mean, what if this were their neighborhood? We've never had that problem before like we do now. It's just terrible. And they do speed. And I've already seen where sometimes they'll stop in the middle of the road coming up up Deer Run. There's 3 times tractor trailers were stopped. I thought there was an accident in front of them. I need to find out they were just there. They park on the side of the road on Deer Run, no flashers on. I mean, I'm not trying to be the most law-abiding citizen, but it's, you know what? They're like invaders. Thank you.
Gwen, do you have anything to add relative to phone calls you received?
I've received calls from these residents and from other residents echoing what they've said. I've talked to the industrial park, and they have asked their landscaping crew to start doing more trash patrol pickups on that section of Deer Run. They don't go on Redgate, but the section of Deer Run that is the industrial park, we've seen their crews picking it up because some of the things that they find our guys don't want to pick up. And so these aren't the only 2 people who have called and said these things.
As a resident standing at the bus stop in question every day, I'm on guard. We put our kids up on the hill, there's nowhere to stand. It's a concern every day of my life that,
They bring their cars. They won't
yeah,
even bring
I
their
won't park,
children
yeah,
on the road
we'll
anymore.
park or we'll do, it's just, when it's slick, we're in the car because I'm scared, but anyways, it's something we have to live with.
Chief, any?
Okay. First off, I understand your concerns. I do. and your frustrations. I truly do understand that. So, speaking with Gwen about it today, we've looked at a couple different answers for this. A, we're going to put up a device that tracks speed and how many cars and when they do it and when they don't do it, right? That way, we leave the device up for a week or two. That way, we get a better understanding of when and what we're looking for, okay? It's a traffic study. It takes us a little bit of time. That way, we have a better idea of what we're doing there. And to go back, you were stating you haven't seen somebody in your specific driveway for a year, but you've seen the officer in the neighbor's driveway.
At the top of the hill.
At the top of the hill. But my point being that the officers are there. I've seen several citations being issued specifically at Redgate, and I would like to touch upon this point, and so the board has a good understanding. We meet and surpass the contract that we have with you. We run a lot of traffic, more so in Aleppo, at Redgate and other places. But one traffic stop, an officer sets up, sits there for a little bit, catches a car. You're talking 15 to 25 minutes for one traffic stop, right? And maybe 2 traffic stops in 25 minutes, maybe less, give or take. All depends. Now we still have the remaining of Aleppo to patrol, right? We still have a lot of other roadways, other places that people complain about speed. We try to monitor and try to balance it all out the best that we can. I'm going to give you some options here. A, as Gwen and I have already talked today, we're going to reach out to the state. I did this just recently with the county down on Neville Island. We've got the oversized 25-mile-per-hour speed limit signs, okay? I can say traffic enforcement goes a certain way in doing this, but again, using Neville Island as an example, in the last 6 months, we've issued about 750 citations on Neville Island alone, give or take. And I could go down there right now and issue another 10. Speeding tickets only go so far. Awareness and working with the community goes a lot further. I don't want to issue people citations. I don't. They're just working people trying to work. They need to slow down. 100% agreement on all that. The oversized signs I find make people more aware of their surroundings. They're newer, they're brighter. I looked recently, some of the signs aren't as reflective down there, but it is a state roadway, so they would be responsible in doing that. We'll see how receptive they are to that. The next is doing the traffic study, taking a look at that. I offered to the township, we will continue to try to balance out running the traffic and patrolling your jurisdiction and answering the calls the best that we can. If you should wish to have additional officers come out, we can do that. We'll bill you for that time, generate, they can sit there for 4 hours if you're willing to pay for that, or 8 hours, whatever you decide. We're willing to do that outside of the normal scope of what we're already trying to do. I will reach out to Amazon directly. I have the point of contact of the gentleman that runs that facility up here. Again, extremely receptive every time I reach out to them.
Maybe we should give that number to all those residents.
I will reach out to him. I have his email, right? I will reach out to him and readdress the issue, and I will bring up specifically Redgate and the trash. If it's something that an officer would see, they of course would stop the individual and cite them. Something like that happens so briefly, but we will address all of those issues with them. As far as the noise goes, I would have, at this point, I would have to say I would have to go back to the township and go to this township solicitor and see what we can find, not in our books. I know Aleppo does not have any current ordinances that would help us there, but see if anything is out there with other facilities or other boroughs and jurisdictions to help with something like that. It is an industrial park. They're regulated to a certain extent, but they're permitted to do that kind of stuff.
It's like, when I sit in summertime.
I understand, and how frustrated, I can see the frustration, and I understand. Again, I can talk to them about that to try to limit how much that is, but they are required by law to have those alarms because of how much foot traffic and everything else that they have.
Right.
I will bring it to their attention.
So maybe they need to build something.
Well, that would be something through the township. I, as a law enforcement, can't.
Right.
I can't disagree with you.
Gwen, you have had constructive conversation with Amazon also?
I haven't spoken to anybody at Amazon. I usually go through the industrial park management.
I have. Oh, I have with Endurance, without
That's the
core.
owner.
So have any of the three of you, solicitor, manager, chief, heard any good ideas coming from Amazon? Like, okay, we understand, here's a possibility.
Yeah, when we get to my report, although I could jump ahead, but I do have something to add to this that might. So one of the things that we've been talking to Al about, and that's the owner. Al Corr, C-O-R-R, from Endurance Realty. They're out of Philadelphia, but we talk about other projects that they want to do in the park, and some of which relate directly to Amazon, and Amazon wanting to do some different things over in the park. So there might be an opportunity to suggest, as part of their overall build-out, that they maybe do something with regard to the sound, or hours of operation, or something. But we do have Amazon. Let's put it this way: Amazon would like to expand their activities in the park lawfully, and we will have an opportunity, I think, to suggest some conditions on granting those approvals. So there could be, I can't get into details because I don't even know what the details would be, but to your point, there are some opportunities here to address the problem through negotiation.
What's the timing of your discussions?
Well, actually, one of the things in my report that I was going to report on was there's been a request by Endurance, but on behalf of Amazon, to provide for additional parking on one of the lots in the industrial park. And initially, Amazon wanted a letter saying that the lots in the industrial park were zoned for that type of parking. I've looked at that, and the engineer and I have looked at it together, and we don't think that the lots in the industrial park currently are zoned for that type of parking. So one of the things that I was going to recommend, because there does seem to be a demand for parking for some of the businesses in the industrial park that doesn't meet what we currently have. And because, to address your concerns, some of that would take the traffic flow off of Deer Run, and might also alleviate some of the traffic problems. It was going to be a recommendation that was going to be my recommendation, me and the engineer, that we, one of our amendments to the zoning ordinance, which we're looking at amending several ways, but one of them would be to create a type of parking for employees of Amazon and other businesses in the industrial park, so that you wouldn't have overflow onto Deer Run, and it would clean up that situation, especially with the backup on Deer Run. So that was going to be part of my report to you, but I think that also would address some of the traffic-oriented concerns.
I was representing.
I'm sorry, what?
When you speak, come to the podium, please. Commissioner Dara has something to say.
Yes, that's fine, go ahead.
I once worked for a facility that had a lot of traffic into and out of the facility. Noise and speeding, size of trucks and the like was a big concern to the community. Ultimately, took a bit of arm wrestling, was an agreement negotiated between the municipality and the facility owner to create both blackout times when vehicles would not come to the facility, as well as rules of the road for the drivers that came to that facility that were enforceable by the facility owner, not left to the, so a citizen could call the facility owner and said, your truck driver with license plate such and such just did what? And it would be up to the facility owner to address that with that driver, and if the driver didn't respond in the appropriate way, the sanction was the driver was banned from coming to the facility.
I also, just, my thought process too for it, because I think there's several layers to it. It's, and I understand the noise and that, but I don't even understand their use of Redgate and why they have to. Do we have any ability to say that that is not a throughway traffic? It's dangerous, it's like,
It's a
that gets
public
them to
roadway.
65.
You cannot limit traffic.
Because I just don't
It's
even
public-
understand why
It's public and it's state.
they need it.
So we don't
You
have
know,
really,
They have an easier access anyways, a safer access, one that doesn't have driveways, children, all that.
Can you put a sign,
Well,
like no turns that way for that? Like just coming out of here, on the post there, couldn't you just
It-
put a sign,
if
no
it's a-
turns?
If it's a public roadway, meaning that it's a PennDOT roadway, it's owned, it's open to the public, it's open to any type of traffic. You can't limit that. The places where you see no through with traffic, you can't enforce that. Unless it's an overweight vehicle or doesn't meet those kind of restrictions that you would have, if those are in place there, then yes, you could do something. However, normal traffic, you cannot.
They have a one-lane bridge at the
I have,
bottom.
yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, sorry.
no, it's okay.
It just.
It's
yeah,
frustrating.
yeah.
I can sum it
Yeah,
up for everyone and
it's-
saying this is
yeah,
extremely
it is,
frustrating.
I know.
I will continue, like I said, reaching out to Amazon, they are receptive, and I will do the best I can with them.
I have a suggestion for someone to look at, someone knowledgeable to look at. There's two entrances to the industrial park here. One of it is halfway down Deer Run Road, off the left, right at the cusp, so to speak, where it goes. And I've been in the industrial park 3 or 4 times, and I never looked at it from the standpoint of flow, traffic flow. But I wonder if an alternative is to find out if we could get the traffic going into that lower entrance, which would move the noise further away and down over a hill, and bring it around to the back. I have no idea, but it's just a suggestion.
As the township solicitor suggested, when this comes up, as soon as I hear that, that is a perfect opportunity, as you gentlemen well know, and ladies, that is the perfect opportunity to hold them and say, listen, this is what we would like to see, and you are going to accomplish this if you would like to do more business here. That's a perfect opportunity to address a lot of this. The speeding and such is going to be a constant ongoing thing. The rate that the drivers turn over and everything, it's going to be a constant ongoing reminding thing of them, and we will continue to do so. But long-term, I think that's an outstanding plan.
Gwen, have we had any written communication with Amazon outlining these issues?
No.
I think we should start.
I think giving them an idea of what's coming on the agenda during the negotiations would be helpful.
well, I think that's all been done through the owner of the park, through the landlord. So I think, and I do have that contact, and we are negotiating other stuff, so I would suggest that you authorize me to pass along that word and do it through the contact at Endurance Realty.
In writing?
So moved.
Yeah, we can do that. Sure, I can put it in writing. Well, nowadays an email's writing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Technically, I guess.
Commissioner Dara has moved to authorize Solicitor Stone to communicate with Endurance, the owner of the industrial park, highlighting the issues and advising them that those issues will be dealt with during the negotiations. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. Okay?
Thanks, Chief.
Anything further from me? No? Okay, thank you.
Can I still say something?
It's me again. Couple things just to comment on your comment, Amy, with regard to the traffic and which roads they go down. Something I would think to consider, and God, I hate sticking up for them, but you know, if you think about it, if you go down Deer Run, that's one direction. If you go down Redgate, you're closer to Swickley, Moon, wherever.
Yeah.
You're further away. To your comment, Art, thanks, that's a nice, I think that's nice, but I think one thing you might want to consider, the noise that I'm talking about is when they're,
I understand.
I'm assuming, so that's having a road in the back.
One at a
I
time.
don't understand how that works, but go ahead.
One at a time. If we can get that lower one, that's, as George said, that's a good time for us to negotiate.
Yes.
Right? In the other instance, such as you're being bothered by the beeps,
Mhm.
I think that that's something that we'll have to bring in an engineer to find out, take an eyeball at it. I
Okay.
don't think that any of us here are,
Right, no, I agree with
have that
that.
kind of expertise.
And I liked your idea too. What's your name again?
Commissioner Dara?
Commissioner Dare, I liked your idea too with the blackout. And whenever all this starts to happen, is there some way that I could know that? Or do I just have to check the website every day to see if something comes up? Because I would really like to play a role and be a part of this
I
as
think
much
we-
as I can as a resident.
I check monthly.
And Sandy, we can easily keep this on the agenda for updates,
Okay,
so even if you can't attend, it will be recorded,
yes, okay, thank you.
okay?
I do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you both. And Chief, thank you. All right, fire,
No report,
emergency management,
no report.
public works.
You have a copy of the report in your packet. Some of the highlights are they've been called out for salting more than once, so they're fully into that mode. Gotten some salt deliveries, cleaned up, it was a bit of a mud issue on the little slide on Redgate. Helped with the geotech contractors who were drilling the monitoring stations on Rose Avenue for the slide, so they had to take down some guide rails and put them back, that kind of thing. They did the Christmas tree collection, the Christmas tree recycling collection, and I did not bring the number with me, but it was higher than last year, so it continues to be a popular program for them to come and to pick up the trees and chip them. And patched a few things, and are with a new pickup truck, they're doing some more organization of the tools and the toolkits that they have there.
And an update on staffing.
We still currently have the one full-time employee and the one part-time employee who's basically filling in full-time, and we will be Tom's gonna be retiring at the end of March, and so then we will be looking to replace that supervisor position.
We haven't started the search.
The ad went in, was submitted today.
Okay, good. Communications.
I got one email from a resident we have comments and things like that, but one email that just said they wanted to compliment Aleppo for how they take care of the roads when it's snowing. A few weeks ago, this resident was going to Ohio Township during a light snow. When she crossed the line going into Ohio Township, the roads were different and not so for Aleppo, and so they were just grateful that when they get into Aleppo, that they know they're safe.
And we had another email regarding the Swickley site on Glen Mitchell.
I just had a question about that, and if by granting them a permit, it's gonna look different. That was the question.
Okay, good. Head of the Communications Committee, do you have any comments?
No, I do not.
Okay. Planning and zoning,
No report.
tax collector treasurer.
Good evening, happy new year, everybody.
Evening?
In your packet, you should have the year-end of 2019 December statements. We collected a total of $26,264.80 in the month of December in property, delinquent real estate, realty transfer, earned income, local services tax, and business privilege tax. In the third and fourth pages of your report, you can see the comparison to December of 2019 to December of 2018, roughly around the same, so we're still doing quite well. And then you can see the year-to-date budget numbers as well. We've obviously done very well this year due to the sale in the industrial park, so we're over in quite a few of our numbers this year, so we are pretty comfortable and poised to handle a lot of projects and things in the future. As far as the account ending balances, in the PNC checking account, we have $170,982.22. Then in our investment accounts, the state fund, we have $70,936.04. In the general investment fund, we have $888,219.84. In the reserve fund, we have $109,288.12. And then in the capital improvement fund, we have $711,630.47. So total monies on hand for the month of December is $1,951,056.69. However, we have various accounts that are pledged for certain things and targeted for certain things. So if you subtract those numbers out, we have net operating funds of $1,059,202.06. And I also provided the sewer bond account of $597,732.83. And then the sewer capital account fund of $31,665.62.
Any questions?
All right. Well, thank you very much.
I think it's pretty obvious because we get these numbers tonight. The questions may be next week or next month. All right. Thank you, Clay.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to approve the December bill list, et cetera?
I move.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second to approve the December bill list in the amount of $62,573.81, to ratify December prepaid bills in the amount of $23,851.61, and to ratify December payroll transfers in the amount of $15,139.06. Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aleppo Township Authority.
I would report that we had 9 water line breaks in the month of December, which was extraordinary, given that we normally have 6 or 7 during the course of a 12-month period. So we need to be vigilant on that. One of the water main breaks in particular was very difficult to detect because it was in the shale and never got out of the shale. So it was creating some landslide issues on Red Gate that finally got resolved once they located the leak. With regard to the use of some of the funds from the bond refinance, my suggestion would be to put $75,000 into the authority's budget for meter replacement and see how much can actually get done and evaluated as we go through the year.
Good. So I think as we discussed at the last meeting, there is the possibility of a bond refinance in 6 months, give or take, which hopefully will be beneficial. And as a result of the potential savings from that refinancing, plus money that had been set aside until all the issues with the Masonic lawsuit were resolved, Commissioner Dara in particular, we're looking at how to best use those funds. And that'll be an ongoing discussion. Any questions on the authority? Quaker Valley Ambulance Authority.
No report.
Quaker Valley COG.
The only thing we have is that, I don't know if people saw the article in the Swiftly Herald last month, but there was an article there that the plan for the Corridor 65 has gone through its first phase successfully, and they are now going to the, I forget who the funding situation is, it's like PennDOT, and with a request for $100,000 in order to really begin that process on Corridor 65 and taking it forward further on down the road. So this is something that will be
Is the COG preparing any written documents on the progress of that study?
And not at this time.
And if so, we can always put them on our web.
Yeah.
The COG has a 65corridor.org website, and that's where you can go. You can actually, regular residents can go in and drop pins on their map if you have a safety concern or something like that. It's a neat little website, it's interactive, so you can go and read what's there and do some stuff, so.
Can we put that link on our website?
Sure.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, just for clarification, the first portion of the plan that they talked about in the paper was actually the details of 5 meetings with on separate subjects in 5 locations within the corridor. So that it's really communications and outlining generally what they hope they intend to do if they go forward and if they get some funding.
Mr. Solicitor.
Yeah, so I don't normally have a solicitor's report, but tonight I do. Well, in the past, my reports have all been executive session because of the litigation. So it's kind of nice not to have to.
You're a free man.
Yeah, I'm a free man, right. So I've been working on 3 things for you. I know Commissioner Jones, you were concerned at the last meeting about the state of the emergency access project for the manor. I was waiting at that point up until recently for some courthouse research that the engineer was doing on the property descriptions to include in the easements. I now have all that, and the easements, I dropped them off to Gwen tonight. So we're that far along. I think the next step in the process is going to be figuring out how to distribute the easements to the property owners and how to present them and get them returned. So it's now become a logistical matter, and it's in Gwen's hands. So we can talk about strategies for getting them signed.
Okay.
So that's the other thing I was working on. Again, as I mentioned earlier, are some changes, some updates to your zoning ordinance. 2 to be exact. One deals with the oil and gas section of your zoning ordinance, and the other deals with the issue that I talked about earlier involving parking in the industrial park. Those will be ready in the next day or 2, and I'll send them along for the Planning Commission to look at. The Planning Commission will review them, and presumably the Planning Commission will then make a recommendation to the board to adopt those revisions, those amendments. The only thing I would say is these are amendments that are sort of necessary, or maybe not even necessary, but it would be desirable to do those. I think we talked about this now rather than wait till we do a complete zoning update, because they deal with things that are currently issues that probably should be dealt with in a more timely way. There's lots of other issues that we can wait for our planner and wait for a complete rewrite of the ordinance, which we'll do within the year. But these were 2 that the engineer and I thought should be addressed more immediately.
What's the process for adopting those amendments?
It's because we share a zoning map with 2 other municipalities, we have to give them notice. We have to notify the county, and then I think we advertise, and I believe it's about a 60 to 90 day process from when we start. Yeah, I think with all the necessary advertising and comment periods, I think it ends up being about 90 days before you can actually vote on it.
Are small cell towers imminent? Should we address those? I mean, you hear it every day. You also hear that you won't even know they're there.
Right. Small cell towers is kind of a sticky wicket, if you will. The legislature and the courts have been fooling around with it for a long time. Dan Cohen has been involved in some major litigation. He reported recently on a case that he was involved with in the eastern part of the state where the court finally came down with some definitive rulings on the small cell.
Preemption issues?
Yeah, well, preemption, and there are issues about whether they constitute a utility or not or whether they're not a utility. Because if they're a utility, they're preempted by the Public Utility Commission, and the municipalities can't regulate. So that was one of the hot issues, and I don't want to give the wrong answer. I don't remember off the top of my head how it was finally decided. But we can take, I think we should take a look at small cell, but I think that's something that along with Airbnbs and some other things, we could throw into the next year and study it. And I also think that the changes that you would have to make, because I did this in another township, to turn your regular cell tower ordinance to cover small cell is not that difficult. You can almost by definition, I think what I did is, I think by definition, I had small cell, I had remote wireless towers encompass both small and large cell towers. So there's a way to do it, but I think it's something that we could probably wait on as opposed to the other two that I'm proposing now.
Okay.
Just a comment on that. I don't know whether people have the understanding or the perception that the cell towers are fairly large towers. You've seen along the highways this strange thing that's trying to make it look like a pine tree. Well, they're not towers for G5. G5 is a new frequency that is being implemented now. Probably will be done by the end of 2021. And the towers are about this size.
Size of my cup.
Shoebox.
Shoebox would be a good, and you don't even know they're there. They're literally. However, that has nothing to do with their performance. I'm just talking about the physical standpoint, where we're accustomed to rather ugly high-tension towers and on the tops of churches, and that's not the case anymore.
Okay, any further comments on the solicitor's report or anything more, Harlan?
No, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and I appreciate the appointment and being able to serve the township for another year. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Everyone should have received a document from Waste Management describing changes in the recycling program. They're not going to enforce immediately, but they will be enforcing. So I thought it would be good for Gwen to just briefly summarize those changes.
Sure. You got the new schedule, and if you didn't, it's on our website, and there's also some printed in the lobby here. And starting basically now, but they're going to give everybody a month or two to get used to it, there'll be no glass allowed in the recycling bins. If glass needs to be either saved for one of the community pop-up recycling events that happen around the region, and we link to that on our website too. The 2020 schedule hasn't been announced yet, but so you save it for that. There are a couple places that continue to just take glass. It's Michael Brothers in the South Hills, which is not super convenient here, and then apparently there's a place in the Keys Rocks that we think might take glass, but we haven't called to confirm that yet. And otherwise, throw it away. So, obviously, we would recommend holding on to it till a pop-up event or something like that. The COG talks about setting up some kind of site, kind of like Edgeworth Borough has, but that's a long-range, lofty plan, so we don't have a site yet or a location for any kind of permanent drop-off yet. They also will not take plastic bags. This is not new, but it is being enforced now. No, you do not put your recycling in plastic bags. Currently, any recycling in plastic bags just gets pulled out and thrown away anyway because they don't open them and the bags gum up the works. We've taken the tours and we can see that. So starting in like 2 months, they're gonna stop collecting any recycling that they see with these items in it. They won't pick it up. In the beginning, they hope to leave a flyer in there just telling you why, that it isn't just a missed pickup, it's because they saw glass or plastic bags in your recycling bin and they're gonna leave it. So they're gonna get much stricter about what they're actually picking up. So
They'll take glass and garbage. won't they?
they'll take glass and garbage and they'll take plastic bags in garbage. So, yeah. There is a market for glass recycling. That's not part of the change in that is not because of the recycling industry change. That's because it breaks in the current process that they have and it contaminates everything else. So saving it and taking it to the drop-off events, those have been very successful.
So we did get a mailer explaining that. There's a link on the webpage.
The website's been updated, it has the link to that kind of information, it has a couple other, like, what you can do with it, glass information, and just some reminders, so we just freshened the website to give you a little more information on that.
Okay. Then Swiftly Borough, on or about December 18th, voted unanimously to investigate and proceed with the option of shutting their wastewater treatment plant down, which currently takes our waste, water, and going to Leedsdale. And we have been asked to approve a resolution, which, do you even have it?
No, I don't have the resolution, I just have the letter.
It's at the back of that.
Is it on the letter?
We've been asked to act because without all the communities that are involved with either the borough or Leedsdale approval, it can't proceed. So we'll be undertaking that here on an ongoing basis. It was sent to our engineer,
Yes.
and you have it.
Yes.
And Commissioner Dara and the authority have it.
Right.
Okay. Then Gwen, the LGA intern program.
So I don't have a lot of information on that yet, but we have, the LGA, Local Government Academy does an intern program every year where they offer to pay, if you are your project is selected, they'll pay for half of the cost of an intern's wages for the summer. And we've been talking a little bit with Kilbuck and Glen Osborne about partnering to get an intern for some GIS stuff to go around and help take some of the inventories of things out in our communities. I think partnering would be good because I don't know that we would have enough for a full-time intern, so sharing among the 3 communities would be a good idea. And I have my COG meeting Wednesday, so we were going to talk about that tomorrow Wednesday.
For those that are new, could you detail a little bit the link between this and the GIS system?
We have a GIS program that we buy through the COG, so we have access to it, and we have, we recently purchased a tablet, like an iPad tablet, for Public Works or a potential intern to go out and take photos of our different assets, storm sewers and things like that, and then they can take those and drop them into the map so that we can have a map with different layers that show different kinds of assets on the street. So we're trying to build that up and get a useful database of what we have here in the township.
And the system's only as good as the data.
Correct, so.
Any questions about that? Fern Hollow Nature Center request for support.
They send a letter and for request for annual support, and they sent another one. So it's, in the past couple of years, the board has committed to the $750 contribution level, which gets them to be a website, Aleppo to be a website partner, and certain discounts for all residents for the Summer Celebration Music Festival in June.
Did the benefits change to our residents?
No, it does not appear to have changed.
Move that we do the $750 contribution.
There was a motion to make a $750 contribution to the Fern Hollow Nature Center. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. There are continuing efforts in the Quaker Valley area to share services. You know, the obvious, we provide police, or we provide fire service for Swickley Heights. Ohio Township provides police service for us, etc. And we just received a request from the borough of Swickley, correct?
Yes.
Asking us if we would consider participating in certain paving bids and other things. So you've sent that on to our engineer, to the township engineer?
I did. Basically, what we talked about was that we had all talked about that there's not a large paving project plan for this year for Aleppo. This is a year where we're saving money to go towards the next one. So at this point, I don't think that we're ready to jump into this kind of idea, but it's good to talk about.
But I think we want to encourage it, and it's more applicable to like Beaver Street going from Osborne to Swickley to Edgeworth, you know, those are obvious. We don't have as many roads that connect to the other municipalities, but I think we want to encourage this. So no action right now, Gwen, correct?
Correct.
And then there's an Earth Day meeting tomorrow night here at 7 o'clock, planning for our 4th annual Earth Day celebration, which usually entails picking up bottles along the road. We'll be careful this year.
Yeah. More.
And anybody's welcome to attend that. Any other new business from the commissioners? Sure.
We got a letter from the bonding agency for the tax collector bond asking for an exoneration to exonerate the tax collector in name, Clayton Stoop, for any uncollected taxes for the year 2018. And if I could just get a motion to exonerate him for the 2018 real estate taxes, that would be great.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Amy wins that one.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're safe. Any additional citizen participation?
Yes.
Please, at the podium, announce yourself and your address.
My name is Vince Ferry. I live at the corner of Merriman and Nancy Drive. This is not the subject that I want to talk about, but everybody's talking about the negativity of Amazon. Just think a little bit about the positive part of Amazon, how much employment it has provided for the area. If you ever, I'm a widow, my sister's a widow, we have a thing, the first Sunday of the month, we go to King's for breakfast. You're sitting there at 8 o'clock in the morning at King's. Every one of those little trucks pull into the Safeway to fill up. They take every gas post there. When they're done, the next crew come. So they were providing, I don't know what you want to call it, a benefit in a way. So there is a little bit of, yeah, there's negative things. Personally, where I live, I don't hear any of the noise. I see the traffic, but I don't get the noise. But there is some positive effects to Amazon. I just wanted to mention that. What I'm here for, and I'm sure probably you all have experienced the same thing, I am being overrun with deer, literally. I went out the other morning to go to work at 7:15. I went out the back door. I go out the back door. My car's on the side. There are 5 deer in my backyard within 10 feet on my porch. 3 big ones, 2 little ones. They were half grown probably. The big ones, I have a 4-foot fence between my house and the house that you own next door. The big one's nothing. Boom, right over the fence. The little ones couldn't make up their mind what they wanted to do. The one, there is an opening in the back. I have another fence. One got through. The other one, he looked at that. It had to be a buck. He put his head down and he just charged my fence and busted right through the fence. They eat everything I have. I have beautiful rhododendron. It's half stripped now. They eat the yucca, which I don't know if you know what that is. That's a sharp thing. They clean that off. Every plant I have, they've cleaned off. My yard, like the snow, it looks like it's a cattle field. There's so many tracks and stuff. I was raking up leaves the other day. It's like a bathroom for the deer. There is so much deposits, and I'm sure you have all experienced some of it too. And twice I have come very close to nailing one, and I don't want a third time. One was right 100 feet from Nancy Drive. I was getting ready to come right there by where Kramer's big house is, jump right out in front of me. I was coming home from work. The other one morning going to work, come off the bank there by the entrance to the village. So I have come so close to nailing one, and I don't know what we can do to try to stop it. Can we, I had a couple thoughts, but of course nobody's going to agree with it. I know we don't want shooting, we don't want rifles. Could we pick a day sometime and send out a notice to everybody to keep your dogs and cats in and get a group of archers to come in and clean some out, or else put out some kind of feed that the deer would eat that would sterilize them? Every time you turn around, there's more little ones. That's my concern.
I think before you got here, Chief and Gwen were discussing this. Would one of you like to update?
Last month,
Thank you,
just
Chief.
so everybody gave me, no problem, sir. Last month, the board did ask me about this, if the Game Commission had any proactive plans going on. Valerie Gladys, who's Aleppo Township resident and local elected official, sent out a packet of an example for municipalities to follow for deer management. I just gave that to Gwen today. It's quite an extensive management program with a lot of information in there, so it's going to take a little bit to see what works for Aleppo Township specifically. As far as doing what you suggested, sir, yeah, that's dealing with the state and the game laws and everything that goes into that. That would have to go through a lot of people.
There's gonna be a major accident one of these days. It's gotta be as many.
I understand.
I mean, I wasn't even going hardly fast, but I get ready to turn into my Nancy Drive.
Mhm.
You know, if you're speeding like some of them do after they come out of the 3 o'clock shift at the village, and that somebody's gonna get nailed good.
It's the deer population in Allegheny County, as everybody's aware, it
My
is,
sister lives up in Mount Nebo in Thompson
Yes.
Terrace, behind the Presbyterian Church. They're in her front yard all over the
yeah,
place.
they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. So it's 50-50. Some residents don't like them, some
I mean,
residents
they're nice,
do.
and everybody wants to
You
be
know.
beautiful animals, yeah.
She's
I
saying
left
she likes
everything
them.
alone.
But having said that, a proper deer management program that reflects what was given today would definitely help. It's at least worth the read to see if it works for Aleppo Township.
We actually did a survey, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
About whether we should move forward with efforts to adopt a deer management program, and it basically came out 50-50.
And most of you guys live in the village, right? No? You do?
One.
Because one night coming home, coming up back to School Street, I saw a deer down there. Okay, I thought, I'm
A
just gonna-
deer?
Pardon?
A deer? There's
I
never-
turned into the village there, and the first entrance, what is that, Scottish Rite or something? I go in there, I turn down at the stop sign, the house that's like straight across, there were 5 almost in the lady's window.
Yeah.
So then I went up around the hill, there was 4 more up there, I turned around, come back down, there was 2 more over here. There was 9 deer in that little passageway.
Well, we have plenty of them, and I'm personally, trying to teach them to march. So far, very unsuccessful, but, we have a lot of them. And 2-3 years ago, we did discuss the possibility of having people come in and clean them out.
Yeah.
We had a company come in. So let's
Let's take another look at what the Game Commission put out, and we'll keep it
Yeah.
on our agenda.
because I think
Thank
Swickley Heights over near Fern Hollow did have an archer in the trees 2 years in a row.
Well, there's quite a few that way too. If you go down Scape and turn out Blackburn in the Snyder Farm there, of course, that's a whole big field. Every time there's at least 4 or 5 in that area.
So thank you. It appears
Thank you.
that it's timely because we just received something and we'll take another look.
Thank you.
Can I say one more thing, please?
Sure.
Would you make me a copy of that? I'll pick it up.
You were talking about,
For the-
the chief was talking about maybe having pay for some extra detail. We have the money to do that. I don't know why you don't have, even if it's 1 day a week for a couple months, just so they know that the police are more around than what they are. I see you drive every day. I see you different places, but to actually sit someplace for the traffic, not just on my road. I see them speeding everywhere. But, Redgate Road, you know how steep that thing is. And I'm just afraid somebody is really going to get hurt on there. So I would like you to maybe think about that.
Well, number one, Chief has already said that he's going to gather some data. Gathering data is
Right.
important.
Right.
Solicitor Stone has already agreed that during the negotiations on some changes they want, we'll bring these issues up.
But that could take a while. They're not talking about that in the next
Right.
couple months. They might be
So-
talking about that next year.
So Chief, would you give us a proposal from Ohio Township as to the cost of some
Enhanced enforcement.
enhanced enforcement?
Absolutely, and to add to that, and I know it should be at Mike, but we receive grants every so often from the state that we do distribute around to those jurisdictions, to all of them. Click it or ticket, aggressive driving details, things like that. We do get money, and we do send the officers to all the jurisdictions. We try to balance it out, but Redgate is one of them. When we have the grants, they go up that way because it is a PennDOT roadway, that we can use this money for, you know, those kind of roads. So we do try to push, you know, any cost away from Aleppo and try to use the grants that we get. But they're, you know, here and there, whenever the state has the money to give out for them. But absolutely not a problem. We'll take a close look at that.
Thank you. And then,
Thank you.
quite frankly, Tammy, speaking not as a commissioner, I would ask Amazon to foot the bill.
Well, you know, I
That-
stopped at Amazon out there, and nobody will talk to you about it. So my neighbor actually sent an email to him, and you know what they said to him? They said, well, you can get 15% off of your next order. That's exactly what they said.
And he was probably like, okay.
That's a business, that's a business model right
Go
there.
downhill and drop the stuff.
Those guys know what they're doing.
Exactly what he said to me.
They've been hanging around Mr.
Ask them to
Bozo
share
too
that
long.
code with everyone.
That's
I've written back and asked them if that was 15% off their next ticket.
But I think we have a good opportunity now to open this discussion with them. And part of that discussion is extra police patrol to help them train their drivers.
Well, just so it scares them a little bit. If they see him a little bit more. I mean, I was tempted to throw nails out the one day. There was so many that came down. When that big accident happened,
Remember you're
that big
being
accident
recorded.
happened on 65, there were so many cars that were going phew, phew, phew. I'm like, where
All
are
right.
the police now?
Any further citizen participation?
That's a question. Does
Please.
Does anyone know what the deal was with the prime trailer truck that was jackknifed on Deer Run on Saturday night? I was away Saturday night, I came home around 8 o'clock, and before you get to School Street, like where the first sign is there was a prime trailer truck, like it turned and was down in the ditch. And he had the road all blocked. And I figured, did he try to avoid a deer? Or if something happened to his steering? But it was just like, I'm gonna pull down in the ditch, down in the ditch. Somebody told me I saw it on Facebook, but I didn't hear anything on the news or anything.
If that
It
was
was-
Westfield Borough, then it would have been a state that responded, so it wouldn't have been you.
It was one like a 54-foot trailer, it was prime trailer, and he was just pulled right off the road. You know, I was just curious if anybody knew what happened. Sorry, thank you.
No, I did not. That would have been Glenfield, but.
Mr. Treasurer?
I just want to make a comment. The sign at the bottom of Glen Mitchell, the Aleppo sign, it's hanging. I don't know if the wind knocked it off, so you might want to send Public Works to go and fix that before it's gone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional citizen participation? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Amy, don't know.
I will not, I shall not.